I set out to examine what it meant to be a man. When I looked at the popular images of manhood, they all pointed to one set of standards. All those really iconic symbols of manliness pointed to one particular type of man.
I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry, work till you're tired, got to provide, always be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means, and give you the
So there's this idea, and it's as old as time, this idea that certain characteristics are associated with being a man. You know, you got to be strong, you got to work hard, you got to provide for your family, and all that stuff makes sense. The problem is when you take that image to the extreme. And really that's what our society has done. We've taken the image of a man to the extreme. It's as if those characteristics are the only characteristics that are okay for a man. And so what you end up with is a bunch of emotionally distant workaholics who measure themselves by how much money they make or whether or not they can beat you up. So in the face of what I'd seen in the media, I really wanted to look at what I'd learned in my own life. And that's where the book came from. The interesting thing is, when the book came out, I got this outpouring of emails and text messages from people who had gotten the same messages as a child. They'd been taught the same lessons I was. The ancient idea of manhood had another side to it. You know, when I looked at the history, the Greeks would have said manhood was strength, courage, and honor. But we tend to gloss over the honor part. The idea of a polymath, someone who was equally strong, mind, body, and spirit. The same is true of the Renaissance man in Italy. You know, you got a guy who knows a lot of stuff. You know, someone who's educated in art and science and math, and somehow they manage to go to the gym too. You know, look at the knights in the Middle Ages. I mean, these guys are warriors, but they're educated men. I mean, these guys treated themselves and others with respect. That's where the idea of chivalry comes from. But somewhere in our society, we seem to just latch on to the strength part, you know, the tough guy part. That's what stuck. So I wrote the book because I didn't want my son to be defined by that old set of rules. You know, I wanted him to have a new set of rules to live by. My father left me with the old set, and they were ingrained in my head, but they just kept getting in the way. So when I figured it out, I thought, I'm going to give him something new. And then I figured, well, maybe somebody else can get something out of this too.
Different nights. If I had it, I would make it. I would make it right. Flip all of this darkness into light. If God granted me one single wish, one wish, love I ask Him simply just for